India is retaliating after Prime Minister Justin Trudeau linked agents of the country's government to the shooting death of a Sikh leader near Vancouver.
Hardeep Singh Nijjar was shot and killed outside of a Gurdwara in Surrey in June. Members of the Gurdwara said Nijjar gave a speech there just hours before his death in which he said he had been warned by Canadian intelligence officials that his life might be in danger. Yesterday, Prime Minister Trudeau told the House of Commons that there is credibility to these allegations that the Indian government agents played a role. An Indian diplomat has also been expelled from Canada.
Canadian security agencies have been actively pursuing credible allegations of a potential link between agents of the government of India and the killing of a Canadian citizen, Hardeep Singh Nijjar. Canada is a rule of law country. The protection of our citizens and defense of our sovereignty are fundamental. Our top priorities have therefore been, one, that our law enforcement and security agencies ensure the continued safety of all Canadians, and two, that all steps be taken to hold perpetrators of this murder to account.
India is rejecting the allegations, calling them absurd and unsubstantiated. A statement from India's Ministry of External Affairs says an unnamed senior Canadian diplomat's now been asked to leave India within 5 days. No arrests have been made yet in the death of Nijjar.
Former Foreign Affairs Minister Peter MacKay joins us live this morning from the Netherlands to talk more about this developing situation. Mr. MacKay, great of you to join us. Now, in the history of rocky relations between Canada and India, where does this one rank?
Oh, I think this puts us now at an all-time low in terms of the relations between our countries. And make no mistake about it, this is an extremely serious allegation, which, as Nick mentioned, has been roundly rejected by the Indian government. And as was reported during Prime Minister Trudeau's discussion with the Prime Minister Modi of India, it was rejected then as well, which is what makes these disclosures, these public pronouncements by the Canadian Prime Minister quite unusual, especially in an open investigation where no suspects have been arrested to date.
So how do you interpret that as a former Foreign Affairs Minister, former government cabinet minister, et cetera? What do you make of the PM making such a public move and such a public declaration then?
Well, it's, as I said, it's quite unusual, and it makes one wonder aloud whether this is part of a strategy to perhaps try to gather more information from the public, or perhaps the suspects have left the country, which is also speculation, and that this is intended to send a strong diplomatic message. And that's where we are now, when you have diplomats being told to leave the country, when you have public discussion going on around an open murder investigation. This becomes a much larger issue. As you're aware, there are over 800,000 Sikh Canadians, and this is a big concern to them. And so it's a bit astounding, quite frankly, that this has broken out into the open. Normally, this would be done in a much more discreet fashion, and in particular, as far as an investigation goes, you don't want the impact on the ability of the police, the RCMP in this case, to do their important work.
Yeah, you're definitely seeing this, the crossroads between politics and kind of a possible criminal investigation. So where does the situation move from here on a diplomatic level, or is that dependent on what happens at the criminal investigation level?
Well, I think one very much hinges on the other, Jennifer, as you're suggesting. And what will the fallout be, of course, is also hard to unpack. But we know that it has already resulted, I think, in terms of the relationship in the cancellation of other ministerial visits. Pursuit of closer trade ties with India appears to be stalled. And, because both the leaders of our country are now entwined in this investigation, which again makes it a more public, more elevated, more substantive dispute between our countries. We know that there was tensions in that G20 meeting. It was apparent from the body language, but also from the exchange that took place. This does not bode well for the future and will require, I suspect, a long time, anything short of an actual arrest, investigation, and conviction this is going to put a great deal of strain on the Canada-India relationship. And it has a history, as we know, going back to the tragic Air India bombing. This has also been a live issue in terms of how India perceives the treatment of people of Indian descent in our country.
And you keep mentioning Canada, India. Obviously, that's the two countries that are at the center of this story here, Peter. But do you see this potentially going anywhere beyond our two countries, internationally? Any other allies lying up sort of behind Canada, behind India, et cetera? I mean, we've seen what happened after the Khashoggi murder, about 5 years ago now. How do you sort of see this playing out beyond Canada and India?
Well, that's a very good point, Nick. And I think that is, again, a complicated situation. We have heard some commentary coming mainly out of the United States at this point. But this, in the background of all of this, is concerns for stability inside India. The Sikh Khalistani movement, which is also deemed to be a separatist movement, is what has captured the attention of Prime Minister Modi. Great concern about how that is fostering potential dissent within his country. We saw a large agrarian farmers strike inside his country, which was threatening to the government of India. And so it does have a ripple effect, as you've referred to it. And other countries to date, and I don't expect it will happen anytime soon or too much openly, they're not taking sides, but they're watching very closely and choosing their words very carefully, which, again, I come back to the point I can't emphasize enough. It is highly unusual in an open investigation to see the commentary coming from the heads of the respective governments.
Yeah, it was quite a development indeed. Peter MacKay, former Foreign Affairs Minister, joining us live from the Netherlands this morning. Appreciate your time and insight today. Thanks so much.